Had you ever at this point, ever in your life, but stopped and said a prayer? Had you ever talked to God in your mind ever?
Not a once. I wouldn't tempt fate. Like I had buddies that felt completely comfortable to take a page out of a Bible and roll a blunt with it.
Oh
You know,
wow.
Jeez.
um,
Yeah.
but I would sit there and go, all right, let me. I'd be like, well, you're asking for a lightning bolt, brother. Like, yeah, I'm not. That's not me. I'm not.
So you had
It's
natural
like you like
reverence.
believed,
There
built
was.
in.
but
I knew there was something, and whatever it
You
was,
weren't gonna try to
he was
take it.
having a lot of fun. Is what it felt like to me at the time. I was like, he's having a lot of fun picking on me, so I'm not gonna say anything back. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
okay.
I remember what talking back to my parents was like. Who knows what a space entity could do at
Sure.
the time? You know?
Okay, okay.
Sure, okay.
You had natural reverence for something that you felt at least existed, and you weren't going to go that far.
Sure.
I'm ready for the change. Oh, yeah, come lead the way to your holy place, where I know my heart will be laid bare before you. Oh, Father, you see through all my insecurities that prove my lack of faith towards you. Oh, Father, do what you please. I want nothing but your spirit and truth. Oh, yeah, you're all I need.
Hello, everyone. We're back with the testimony series, and today we've got Brother Seth. Seth, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Seth. I'm very nervous to be here.
We're happy you're here.
That's good.
But I'm their nephew, Jennifer's nephew by blood, and obviously Brad married in. Hi.
That's
Hello.
awesome. Yeah. I'm so
Sorry.
excited that you decided to come on and do this. I know you had to think about it and pray about it and stuff, but we're really excited to have you here and willing to share, your testimony with everybody.
Yeah. So I guess I just start from the beginning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay. I was born in '97 on an Air Force base in Landstuhl, Germany. Sorry.
It's okay.
My biological father was Air Force. Mom was from the States, but I stayed there, I guess, until I was about 3 years old. And then we came back over here to the States.
Whenever you were
If you
in
wanna-
Germany, do you remember actually being in Germany or riding back to the?
No,
Mainland?
I don't remember anything really. Most of my life, my brain is kind of blocked out. I don't remember much from before like 12 years old, except like really big moments that were, either special or traumatic, I guess is the way to put it.
Sure.
Childhood was like baby childhood, I guess, was rough. At least according to my mother and stuff. My real father was, I guess, not a great man. I don't remember very much pertaining to him.
Do you remember him at all?
There's like 2 or 3 memories that I have of him where it was like I got a fear of spiders, and I feel like I would have been scared of him anyway. One of the memories I have is being at his house, and he took like this big old tarantula spider. Was trying to show it to me or whatever off the tree.
Whoa.
Just some big. He was probably tiny. I got to remember, I was like 3-4 years old, something like that. Wandering around with me in the yard, and he just kind of, he was like, "Oh, look at this!" And I remember looking down at it, and I was trying to trust him at the time, and then he just tossed it on me, and that
Oh no.
I remember him laughing and
Oh,
me just
no.
screaming and running around.
Oh, brother, I would have panicked too.
And well, I was a baby. I remember getting hit in the head with a basketball. That's like a couple of times, like for fun. It was fun for him, I guess. Explains why I am the way I am. A little bit of head trauma.
No. But those memories you had of him as a kid, it was you don't remember any fond or good memories with your biological dad?
No, it was no. just kind of him being angry and me not wanting to be there. You
I
know,
got you.
that's like
Yeah.
all I really remember. My younger brother. I remember my dad was mad at me one time, and well, I just remember vividly he was coming down the hallway towards me, and my younger brother, who would have been like 3 or 2, because I was 5 or 6, something like that. He picked him up by the arm and kind of tossed him out the way into the wall. Then he came, and I don't remember much after that, but I know he did something to me after that, and that wasn't great. Um, but yeah, no, it was Germany, and then for the first 2 or 3 years, then we came back to the States. I was with him until I was about 5-ish, as far as I remember. My mother and him got divorced for a little bit. Well, got divorced, and then I was doing this back and forth stuff for a little
Sure.
bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Do you remember doing the back and forth and how it like maybe made you feel?
I remember going over to his house and seeing people I didn't know.
Mm.
Strange, but it was also like exciting because it almost seemed like it was happier in the house.
Okay.
Not necessarily towards me, but towards the other people. So I wasn't like the focus of attention. Um, I don't remember the back and forth like my mom's side of that much at the time. Not until a little later when my what I call pops now, um, till he stepped in. I guess I would have been 6 years old,
Yeah, you were 6.
6,
Mm-hmm.
and they got together. I think they got married pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
Oh yeah. Well, right now I've got um, my brothers Cole, Jason, and Judah. Um, just those are blood brothers. Me and Cole are full, both same mom and dad. Jason, technically, we don't share a parent, but it was Pops' kid from a previous marriage, and then Judah and I have the same mother, but those are just my brothers. We don't think of it as like that. There's no step brothers or half brothers,
Right,
nothing like
right.
this. It's just my brothers.
Yeah.
Was Cole born in Germany as well?
No, he was born relatively soon after we came back to the States. I don't know if she was pregnant on the flight. You'd probably remember that or not.
I don't think she was pregnant on the flight. I think she found out shortly after they moved back.
Okay.
Okay, because I would say I was born in
Yeah.
'97. He was born in 2000, and
Yeah.
yeah, we was there till I was almost 3 or about to be. Yeah,
I mean, she may have been. I was pretty young then too.
it would have been close.
Yeah.
But he was born in, I think in Jacksonville or Little Rock, one of the two. But yeah, no, big brother to 4, technically, and then a whole bunch of other folks that grew up in the house with me. That was
Sure.
big brothers too, and try to be a big brother to everybody. Everybody needs a big brother, you know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
That's very true.
So after you got back here, then your mom and your biological dad ended up splitting when you were around 5, and then
Around
after
6.
that,
Pops came in around 6.
Brian.
Yeah, and I didn't see much of the other. They're both named Brian, so that's what I'm gonna differentiate Brian and Pops. I didn't see much from Brian, the first, my biological father. Actually, I didn't see anything of him. I was not there for this conversation, but I was made aware of it when I was a little later that there was a conversation between who is now my father and who was my father then, where he was like, "Hey man, I kind of I want you to give up your custody rights or whatever. I want to adopt him," and he was like, "Sure," for a pack of smokes type stuff. So he
Dad,
traded.
y'all told me about that.
So he traded me for me and Cole for a pack of smokes or whatever. So that's cool.
From what you were told, right?
Yeah. I wasn't there.
Yeah. And that's hard. That's got to be a hard thing to kind of grow up with, especially like what do you remember how old you were when you had that conversation? Like were you little or were you
I
like
was
a
probably
teenager?
about 10 years old the first time I got told about that. As far as I remember, it may have happened before, but it was like it was weird because it came out in like a conversation where they was angry at me or something. and it was almost like a hey, you need to be grateful type stuff. Like I'm not saying he held it over me, but it was like I got in trouble for something, and I probably said some childish something, you
Well, you
know,
were a
because
kid,
it wasn't
so.
because it was not my real dad, my dad, something like that. I don't remember specifics on a lot of stuff from when I was younger because it was there was a lot going on, you know, like like I said, there was the physical abuse and stuff. He was very physically abusive. I don't remember it, but both to me and my mother. Uh,
You're talking about your biological dad.
was very abusive to both me and my mother from the time I was about born to 6, I guess, until they split up. I didn't see him after that, and
You haven't seen him since.
no, I ain't heard from him. I ain't talked to him. Nothing. A couple years back, you know, I'm almost 30 now. I know I look older, but I'm almost 30.
You were in your 20s, sir. You
I'm
enjoy it.
gonna be 28. I'm almost 30. But I think a couple years back, Cole had found like his brother or something. So I guess it would have been my biological uncle
Okay, okay.
online, but nothing ever came of that. I don't know. All I know is he works in the Air Force. He was a C-130 mechanic or something like that.
Pilot.
That's what was he a pilot?
I think so.
Interesting. I don't know much about him. Apparently, we look a lot alike though. As far as I've been told.
That's
Yeah.
what I hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're early years weren't so great.
So what happened after Pops came in the picture?
Yeah, when I think about my childhood, the most fond time memories where I have is from about 7 to 11, 12-ish, something like that. Because it was nice. I had mom, and she went and joined the police force, joined the department, and Pops was working. He was working a lot, but he was working good jobs. He worked with Davis, hauling lumber, things like that. Real good paying jobs, and we lived in a couple of apartments. But by the time I was about 9, we moved into a house, a pretty nice little house. It was
Right.
pretty sweet for 3 kids, or I guess they were having Judah at that point. By the time we moved in, so I would have been
Yeah, they had just had Judah, I think, in the apartment.
yeah. So I would have been about 8 when we moved into the house.
Wow.
It was a real nice place at first. 4 kids, 2 parents. We had like 4 bedrooms, a garage. Real nice place. There was a pool.
Yeah.
There
There was a pool.
Yeah, I heard
pretty
about
I
it.
swam in that pool.
Yeah, it was
You know, I don't
cool.
swim.
And we, the town wasn't that great, but the house, the little neighborhood we was in was pretty all right. Yeah, man, it was peaceful is what it felt like. It was peaceful. There wasn't a whole bunch for anybody to fight about. I mean, we were bad kids, but me and Cole had been going through stuff, so we was acting out, but it wasn't
Sure.
it wasn't crazy. We were just boys being boys, You beat the crap out of each other, you play football, somebody tackles too hard, and I'm gonna tell mom, well, not before I do it, and you punch each other a little bit, whatever. I'd bully them, and they'd fight, and it was good. It was fun times. Man, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry.
No, you're
No,
fine.
you're doing fine, brother. That's
If you
that's
need
perfect.
to go back to be like, oh, I remembered something from here. Or
Well, I know this is
whatever.
supposed to be my testimony, right? And so
Yeah.
I did not live any sort of like religious life. We didn't have a whole bunch of anything like that involved.
Did y'all ever even speak about God in the house growing up, or was that just kind of in the back burner?
Or was it like Christmas and Easter? Or
We had we went to a Christian academy. It was some kind of whack half school, half church kind of thing. I don't.
Yeah.
It's over in Jacksonville when I was a real youngin, and I don't remember everything obviously because I was young, and a lot of that's kind of blocked out for me. But I remember the dispute would be like the dispute that caused the separation was because they told my mom she wasn't allowed to wear pants. That's something because she was like, "Oh, you're a lady, you need to wear dresses," and that that was the whole big issue why she didn't want to be there. She was like, I'm a police officer. I can wear pants if I want to. This is my work uniform, or whatever ended up being the case.
I'm wearing a gun. I can't go to wear
Right.
pants.
Yeah, we were at the little Christian academy, so they had courses or like classes while I was there, 1st through 3rd grade of about God, and Sunday school we'd watch Veggie Tales and all that garbage.
Sure.
Yeah.
Jesus loves you no matter what you do, little Timmy. But if you're bad, it was very 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 run of the mill cliche Christian stuff. Nothing that struck a chord. Just kind of garbage to me at the time. It was just like, okay, this is pointless. This is just school. I want to go play games or sports or something. Yeah, that was, I think, the only other thing that we had, like, church-wise or anything like that growing up. I had to be young, like 7 or 8. We went to, I don't know what the church name, I don't even know what type of church it was. I just remember there was this class called Awana.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I still don't know what that is, but apparently I was a part of it, and I went to my parents were like, oh, they got a church camp? Send them away for a week or however long I was gone.
Wow.
I just went to some random camp in the middle of the woods with a bunch of people I didn't know, and
Okay.
Wow.
it was that was about we went to some sort of study in the morning and some sort of study in the afternoon, but outside of that, it's just kids acting a fool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
As they
remember that.
normally
I went
are.
to one of
People
those,
was-
something similar.
Yeah, I did too.
I wasn't old enough to act a fool with like the teenagers and stuff, so I just found myself down by the creek, and I was like, I was with a couple of other kids. We would like catch crawdads and they would fight each other. That becomes a trend in my
like
life, by the way.
Lord
we do
of
that
the
as an
Flies
adult, too.
stuff.
Tell me about it, yeah. We'll get to that. When I was a kid, I used to fight crawdads. I like it.
It was just at that camp, man. I grew up in Jacksonville, so there wasn't a whole bunch of like country stuff to do. So I didn't. It was all indoors or sports on the street. Like we'd go and with a little basketball goal up on the street.
Yeah.
Everybody playing barefoot, go inside and got like blisters and tears on their feet, socks tore up, parents mad at you. It was fun. It was good. Parents had good jobs. Everybody was healthy, fed, calm. This stuff kind of started to go south. It was a rough start, okay middle, and then stuff really went south probably close to the time your dad died. Mm-hmm. It was shortly after that. My papa, or whatever we call him, I'm going to call him Melvin from here on out, if he's mentioned. He died, and it was pretty hard on most of the people. It kind of felt like he was the glue to my whole family, like everybody, extended family, and all this.
Yep.
Felt like he was a big piece of everybody's life. I don't remember him that well, but everybody seemed to want him to be around. And the second he died, people were there for like consolation, like, I'm so sorry that happened, and all this, and then didn't see nobody.
Yep.
Hardly at all ever again, especially after everything went down hill at my house. My mom took it hard, what it seemed like. She also had a medical emergency, I think, would have been a year or two later, not even.
Yeah, something around a year, yeah.
Like I said, my brain blocks a lot of this out, so it's hard to remember like specific details.
You're doing
Sure,
good.
yeah, you're doing
You're
great.
doing good.
You got more details than I had, for sure.
Some kind of blood clot, I think, is what it was.
I think it was in our lung, I think.
She
You were
almost
still
died.
a police officer at this time?
She was still a police officer, and she had some sort of blood clot and almost died. I remember seeing her in the hospital, and I remember everybody freaking out, thinking she was, she's not going to be able to do her job anymore, and she might die. It might happen again anytime. You never know. It's a weird thing to tell a kid, right? Hey, man,
yeah.
your mom could die at any second. It's like, okay, yeah, but 10, don't say that,
Yeah.
Sorry,
I mean,
bad
I
joke.
grew up with that too, so
Yeah.
not for the same reasons, but that's
No,
what I grew up with
I
as well.
agree. That's not something to just. I mean, support is better than reality sometimes with a child.
Sure.
You know, there's no, you know, that's something you had to deal with though. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Then I was about, like I said, it kind of started to fall apart. Everything did.
How old were you when it started kind of getting shaky? Because so far you came from
12.
Germany. You
Was it when I moved in?
I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I know that when you moved in, there was a lot going on between you and my mom, and not right as soon as you moved in, but
Yeah.
over time, I didn't include myself in any of that for the
Good.
most part. I just kind of
Good.
like I don't even remember most of it happening.
Good.
I tried to avoid it because there was already like when you weren't there, there was a lot going on anyway.
Yeah.
I would have been about 12, 13, something like
Okay.
that. I was going into high school. Or I was about to when things really started to go sideways. They gave my. It's not like it's spoiling the ending. They gave my mom like opiates, opioids or whatever is like a painkiller. I forget what the specific drug was.
after the blood clot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she has spinal fractures also.
She had a lot of issues, but I just remember that medication. You know, and I know a lot of people in America have dealt with that. There was like a whole crisis. I guess it became the new heroin or something. And so it was kind of it went real downhill real quick. She was angry, or she was like conked out, zombie like felt like. You know, and then she couldn't work. I mean, they moved her to desk work for a little bit, and then they gave her retirement. She didn't want to do that, I guess. So they moved her there.
And you were like 12 at this point.
Yeah, you know.
12,
Wow.
13.
Pops had a job. I think at that point he worked for animal control. So he got a city job, which was good, but this house was, you know, it was a nice house for the time. So it was not one that was sustainable with one income, or so it seemed, you know, from
Sure.
the outside looking in of a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
The thing, you know, people stopped taking care of the house, and we ended up with all sorts of issues. We caught bed bugs at one point for a while. It took some time to get rid of that. Started getting roaches. People were moving in. Some were, which were my friends. You know, they had it worse off. My mom had this weird need to like help people,
Sure.
even when she wasn't helping herself. So my friend would come over to the house, and they had a sad story, whatever. And it's like, oh baby, you just come on in the house. You can stay here. It's like, Mom, we kind of at capacity. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't saying that at the time, but that was my thoughts. So we have, you know, his pops too, his decision as well. But they had this innate need to try and help people even when they couldn't or shouldn't. So we had, I don't know, 17 to 20 people in that household.
Wow. And that went on for many years.
From about the time I was 13, 14 till I left, and a little bit after, according to my little brothers. So for my entire high school experience, there was too many people, lots of bugs, lots of drugs, dirty house, not doing so hot. It sucked, man. It sucked to try and lay down and not. You're so tired that you have to go to sleep, but you know as soon as you lay down in the bed, something's gonna crawl on you. You know something. I can't tell you how many times I woke up in the middle of the night. It'd be like a roach coming out my mouth.
Oh,
Or
my
I know
God.
it's gross. I know it's disgusting. I'm sorry. You know, it wasn't my fault. I was.
No.
Not at all.
It was gross, man. It was awful. That's part of the reason I don't remember a whole bunch of stuff. I think my brain likes to block that stuff out. But it ended up getting real bad. Man, sorry, lost my place.
You're good.
You're fine.
It was just rough, man. It got pretty rough there. It was hard to watch one of your parents go through a drug addiction. At the time, I didn't have a full understanding. I thought it was like a necessity, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm thinking, okay, it's a necessity. I didn't understand it until about 17 years old that there was like abuse going on. Because my mom was a cop. Cops don't abuse things. They used to have that childish, naive
Right.
look on the world that, oh, well, that's a good guy. Good guys can't do bad things or whatever. You know, they were angry a lot. And it's not like I was a great kid, but I tried to stay under the radar. You
Sure.
know? I didn't get caught with a lot of the stuff I was doing. There wasn't always food on the table. Sometimes there wasn't always food on the table. So we go and we steal. I mean, we live like 100 yards from the Walmart. Not even. So we go and it was rough, man. We'd like slide Kool-Aid packets over the barcodes. You know what I'm talking about? Go to the self-checkout because that was the first time that was a thing. We'd scan it there. 25 cents for a box or $27 box of Hot Pockets. You know what I'm saying? Shouldn't do that. Don't steal. But we were because we were hungry. You take that, and now all of a sudden my brother's got a meal for the day. I got a meal for the day. Friends are eating. It's cool. Especially if we're like rotating trips in and out, multiple. You know, we got 17 people in there. 10 of them are teenage guys, so it's real easy. You know, there was a lot of physical stuff with my parents.
What do you mean by that?
Like, you know, I wasn't getting. I would get my tail tore up, and it started when we were young with like spanking and stuff. You know, okay, cool. You're punishing your kids. Okay, cool. We would still do bad stuff because there wasn't really no structure, and we were kind of messed up. So it would escalate. You know, you get a little wise, say something back, you get popped in the face. You know, I was never stupid enough to like fight back. I would just let the stuff happen. One of my brothers was real adamant on fighting back, so I would watch him get into straight up fist fights with my father. I would get it, you know. My mom had this weird like power trip thing where she needed to feel like she was stronger than me or something is what it felt like. I remember, like, for example, one time we had this little short staircase. It was like 3 steps. A very vivid memory I have. It was like 3 steps going from kitchen to the living room or whatever. I remember just stepping out the way because she was coming down, I was going up. So I just stepped out the way, kind of put my hand out like that to let her go through. She was like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? What's wrong with me? What do you mean?" And she was like, "I don't like your attitude." I'm sorry. I'm like 16, something like that. I'm like, "I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to give you an attitude. I was trying to let you pass by." And this stuff escalated so quick. She grabbed me up by like my ear and pulled me to the side. And she was just like, "You know, I don't care how big you get, but I will always be a meaner SOB than you." And I'm like, okay, you know, what do you know, I'm trying not to fight back. I'm just, because the second I fight back, then Pops is going to be like, "How dare you get mad at my lady or treat me," you know, like, okay.
Wow.
So I was just like, "Okay, Mom, whatever you say." And then she just let go and walk off. Like, what kind of interaction is that to have? I was just letting you pass on the stairs. You know what I'm saying? It was stuff like that. You know, you see a lot of problems with like addiction in the house. Obviously, especially later on. Like early on, it was okay. She still had these moments of lucidity. I remember I'd be at football, high school. I'd play football, and I'd see my dad in the stands after the game. Like, hey, what's up, pops? He'd be like, hey son, like, hey, where's mom? Oh, it was cold out, or she was tired, or whatever the excuse was this time. Then I'd go back, and she'd be on the porch, just zombified, just swaying and not doing so hot, And it's slurred speech. I can't understand what she's saying. It sounds like she's trying to ask me how things are. I'm like, yeah, they're good, mom. And just walk past. Because, what are you supposed to do with that? I don't know how to interact. It sucked.
Yeah.
Sucked.
Especially as a kid,
Sure. Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Stuff like that. It was rough in a lot of ways. I think it helped me bond with my brothers really strongly. And in the opposite direction, that was a good thing that came from it. Because, like, it sucked, but we were all kind of there together. Like, we would still fight, beat the crap out of each other, but
Those are your brothers.
yeah, man, it was like, okay, yeah, we're mad at each other right now, but we still both got to live through this crap. So, which is why it was an easy decision for me to. All of this was made it an easy decision for me to go ahead and leave. I turned 18 and I was like, okay, what is the quickest way I can get out of here? I wasn't the smartest. I wasn't, like some sort of super genius, but I did okay in school, not good enough to get like a scholarship. Did not want to work and go to school at the same time. But I did get an 88 on my ASVAB. So I was like, okay, that's
Let's
a quick,
rock.
easy paycheck. You know what I'm saying? Let's get out of here. And I was going to take the easy route. I was going to go to the Air Force. I was gonna jump on that train and be like, all right, cool. Let me go to the chair force, make this paycheck, sit on my tail, and do
The
nothing.
chair force.
And
Chair force.
but my mom told me that in a moment of lucidity, told me that I'm just like her, and that without a challenge, I would go crazy.
I mean, in that way, it's kind of a fair assessment, I think.
Sure, I
Yeah.
wasn't saying she was wrong. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever you say, Mom.
I just want to fly, Bob. I really don't.
That was I didn't want to do that. I'm scared of flying. I just wanted to go sit in the office somewhere, But I went and joined the Marine Corps instead.
Yes, you did.
So that was pretty tight. Hoorah. I didn't do anything special, It wasn't like I went over there and was kicking down doors in some foreign country. I'm not some super trained assassin. I was originally gonna join to be just a grunt, and maybe do some of that cool stuff. But I thought I was outsmarting people. Well, specifically my mom and my now ex-wife, my first wife. They both were like, "Oh, baby, you're too smart. You need, don't go over there and throw your life away. Don't be a grunt. Yeah, that's terrible. That's awful." Okay, I won't do that. I promise. Then I went and saw a $15,000 signing bonus for a field radio operator, which, for those who don't know, is just a grunt who's carrying a radio. I was like, "Oh, cool! I get to do what I want." There's a fancy name, so no one thinks second. No one's thinking anything about it. Easy day. I get there, do the boot camp, do the MCT, go to my job training, and they're like, "Hey, so this job isn't really used very much anymore, so we're phasing it out. So we're going to move half of you this way and half of you this way, and it's based on your scores." And so I got moved to like data technician or something. This shows.
He's got the rifle. He's got the sidearm. He's like, it's time to count things. Seth.
Dude, I was
Time to
so
fix computers.
angry.
You're going to be
So
a bean
angry.
counter for the remaining of your future.
I hated it. I hated the job, and it. But I was still motivated at the time. it was kind of weird because there was this sense of freedom that I hadn't felt before.
Sure, living on your own the first time, out in the
Yeah,
world,
doing your own
far
thing.
away from your
I
family.
was taught, I felt I had more like, I guess ego is probably the word to use, but I felt like I deserved it at the time. I was, fresh 19 years old, whatever, and they just spent 3.5 months telling me you are the world's most perfect killing machine, type stuff.
Sure.
It's like, okay, cool, yeah, nobody can take me. You get the
Yeah.
young man pride.
The
It was,
testosterone starts pumping for
Dude, it
real.
was- it was
That's when I met
foolish.
him, by the way. That's
Yes,
like
that
he's
is
in
when
that-
you met him the
close.
first
He's
time.
in that
Yeah.
stage. He's like,
It was
was.
like a couple months after boot camp.
Little baby face, 190 pounds. You know what I'm saying? I was an itty bitty
you
young
want to throw
fella.
heads, Brad? We could throw heads.
No,
I'm just like, bro.
okay.
I
that was-
ordered
I did
your
say
set.
that
We're
once.
not just once,
But
let's let him tell it his way. Okay, so you're
But-
far away.
yeah,
You're feeling
yeah.
yourself. Go ahead.
I was still motivated because even if I hated the job, I had planned to do it for a while. In that moment, I planned to do it for a while. So it was like it was okay. If I don't like this job, I can change it in 4 years, no problem, or however long. But I can eventually change it. Or even if I don't like it, I'm still doing Marine Corps stuff. I'm still making the same paycheck, and still do training. I can opt into certain courses.
Stay the course.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make a career.
Make you a
To
career.
still do stuff that was more exciting than a 9 to 5 out in the world to me.
And you didn't have to go home.
No, I got to be far away. And I was going to go overseas. That was going to be my first station, was Okinawa, Japan. That was going to be it.
Wow.
But I had a longtime girlfriend at this point who ended up being my first wife. We got married. God, this is so weird to tell this part of the story. I had been in my course, super motivated, super ready to go. I was leading the course. Like, I was probably kind of a prick to some of those people. Sorry, language.
It's okay.
But
We'll leave it
I was probably kind of a jerk to a lot of those guys because I was like acting like I was in charge. I had even more ego than some of the other guys around me. And I was like, yeah, I can do this, But I got a call one day at like 3 a.m. My time. I'm out in California in 29 Palms. It's a desert. I got a call at like 3 a.m. or something. My dad called me. He was like, hey, super just monotone. It was really weird. Super monotone. He was like, hey, son, I think your mom's dead. That's sorry. I think, and I was just like, what? He was like, yeah, I found her on the porch and trying to, I did CPR and all that. They took her away in the ambulance. I'm like, oh, okay. He said he was going to put in some kind of Red Cross, something or another. Blue Cross, Red Cross? I don't know.
I think Red Cross.
Some medical thing that was going to get me sent home so I could go, I guess, deal with that. So up to this point, it was kind of, I was using it as like a cutoff point. That 3.5 months I was there, 3.5 months I was in boot camp, the month I was in MCT, the 2 months I was in the training. This was a while where I had very limited contact with my family on purpose. Other people, a lot of people write letters to their family in boot camp. Every time people started writing letters, I would lay in my bunk and I would rest. They gave me letters. People wrote me letters. My mom, Cole, my little brother, my got a John Doe letter. Or
Dear John?
Dear John. I don't know why I called it a John Doe. Sorry, all over the place. A Dear John letter while I was in boot camp. But I wasn't writing nobody. I didn't want anything to do with it. I'm like, okay. Even though they're screaming at me every day, even though things are getting a little physical if you don't do the right thing, even though the food sucks and I'm on half rats because I'm a fat guy apparently to them. I am now, but at the time I don't think I was that fat.
No, you were like a beanball.
There was a lot, there was a lot of things that people would call terrible. But to me, I'm laying in that little bunk, and I'm going, "There's no bugs.
That's a good point.
I don't have to go out and see my mom buzzed out of her mind. I don't have to go see my father who's now using a cane. I guess I skipped over that earlier. There's a lot to happen, so I'm not getting all the details. He's using a cane because he's got neuropathy in his legs, and he's depressed about it. Nobody's talking to anybody. They're all of it. I don't have to deal with it. There's not 70. I mean, there is literally 90 people in the same room as me, but everyone's quiet and uniform and the same. And it was fine. It was okay.
It was a
It
calm
felt
and
safe.
chaos.
It was organized, right? I mean, you were in an
Yes,
organized
there was
situation.
no more chaos. There was no more. It didn't. All of the chaos was controlled. People would kick sand in my face, and it still felt controlled because I knew that there's a stopping point, and I knew that that can only go so long, and that it's not. It didn't hurt me in here. It was all physical. You know what
Sure.
I'm saying? It was easier to deal with, I guess, mentally. So I kind of used the Marine Corps as a jumping off point to get away from them as a whole. Everybody. I was just like, well, good luck, everybody else. You know, I'm out. And it sucked sometimes because I'd think about people, but every time you try to reach out, you just getting told about the craziness that's going on, or somebody will ask you for some money or something. I just didn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And so I'd had this like mental block. I was able to ignore most of it and not have to deal with it. But then, like I said, my dad called, told me, I think your mom's dead. So for like 12 hours, I'm going through the stages of grief of like, because he just said, I think she's dead. And that was it. That was the whole conversation. My chain of command got alerted, and my instructor came and talked to me that day. You know, when I went to class that morning, he was like, "Hey, man, you're gonna have to buy the ticket out of pocket and refund you, and all this other stuff. So we're gonna have you leave out of this and go here." It was all kind of a blur because even though there was a ton of garbage that was happening, and I didn't like my mom, I loved her. So it was really, I don't know. It felt like everything was just kind of blurring past, and all I could see was just me in like a standstill. You know, it was weird. For like 12 hours, I was just thinking about, dang, what do I do now, or how do I cope with this? That's awful. Then I get to the hospital after however many hours, and I find out she's alive. So that, I just went through all those stages of grief for nothing, which was really weird. Nobody called me and was like, "Hey, man, everything's actually not fine," but nobody even said, "Hey, she's alive."
Yeah.
So that was weird to walk into a place expecting a corpse and finding a person.
Oh, man.
That was strange.
My goodness.
And then later that same day, I mean, the drama just never stops, dude. I just got called back from my job training, but from my job for a suicide attempt. And I get there, and we take her home, and the very first thing we're dealing with is I went from the airport to the hospital.
You're still in your uniform.
Yeah, like I didn't have any chance to decompress. I was just dealing with the fact that she was actually still alive, and that I dealt with all the stages of grief for nothing. And we go from the hospital and we start driving home, and she gets discharged not too much later after I actually get there. And we pull into the driveway, and I don't know what possessed this man. My grandmother married a man after her first husband died. So his name was Bob. I think she talked about him a little bit on her thing. So go check out the video. A little shameless self plug, No. But he pulled up in the driveway in this big red truck and walked out to me. My dad is helping my mom get out of the car. I think you were too.
Oh, I was there.
But I
I
don't
was
remember where
there
you were.
before. I was there before Nana and Bob got there
Yeah.
because I was at the hospital with y'all,
Right.
and we were driving like behind y'all. And
Okay.
this was the first time Brad was meeting you, so like you stepped out of the car and said hi, and that's when they like rolled up in the
He
truck.
was there for that?
Mm-mm.
Yep.
He wasn't there
Yes,
for
you
that?
were. No? Okay.
Nah.
Okay, then it was the next time
I
then.
was with the children, and you went to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
The
Sorry.
kids were little
I thought
Oh.
then my memory is wrong. Anyway, go ahead.
Well-
That the next days is when I went over to their house and met Seth.
Yeah, it was the
Oh.
last couple
and
days.
came into y'all's house for the first time. And
Interesting.
Anyway,
yeah,
Well,
so I have my timeline crossed. Sorry.
my pops, who at the time couldn't walk super well, is helping my mother, who just got out of the hospital for a super traumatic thing, and she's already a frail lady.
Yeah.
Is helping her out the car, and I feel the anger coming from him for whatever reason. Like, I can see the way he's walking. I'm not saying I sense like some kind of energy, but you can tell when somebody's walking.
Yeah.
They're
angry.
breathing hard
They
and
got
they're
a
like-
purpose, you know.
Yeah.
And he got this cane, and man, y'all know me. I want to stand up and like act out everything when I'm doing this. It's really
Sure,
hard for me to just sit here and talk.
We're so
Oh.
similar.
Uh,
I have something in my throat. I'm so sorry.
are you good?
Go ahead. Sorry.
He gets out the car and starts hobbling towards me. He's like, "Where is she?" I'm like, "Where is who, sir? What are you here to do?" Like, where is it?
Yes.
Is it? I think he called her Missy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where's Missy? I'm gonna give her a piece of my mind,
And-
I'm not gonna say exactly what I said because I think this content is supposed to be kid friendly.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of expletives. Because he just told me that my mother, who just came back from the hospital for a suicide attempt, that he was gonna give her a piece of his mind, and I was done. I'm like, bro,
Mind you,
you picked the wrong day and the wrong one.
may I step in
not-
for just a second?
wow.
on
You,
this?
yeah, go ahead.
So, just a little extra from my perspective at this, because I thought Brad was there for some reason, but apparently I was just carrying his energy with me. But my mom is yelling at him because she didn't know he was going to do that. He said he wanted to go see her. So my mom's hopping out of the truck and like yelling at him. She's like, Bob, Bob, stop it. Get back in the truck, Bob. And I had to get in between Seth and Bob because Bob raised his cane and
Right,
Seth
right.
was like, "What are you gonna do, old man? I'll beat you into the pavement," basically. And so like I got in between and I was like, "Mom, call the cops." And she's like, "I'm not calling the cops on my husband." I was like, "Fine, I'll call them." So we called the cops.
She stopped me from committing a felony.
So anyway,
I just
Go
want to
ahead.
be very clear.
I'll leave it. I'll leave it in
She
there.
stopped me from
I'll leave it
committing a
right there
felony.
and you pick
That was
up.
the wrong day and the wrong one. I was ready to feed
It was
that man
fun.
his cane. I don't care how old he was. Man, that was not okay with me.
yeah. And your dad had to end up driving Melissa away from the house because she was so freaked out.
she was
And so I was like,
panicking
"Just get
so
back in the
much.
car, drive off. We'll take care of the Bob thing, and then I'll let you know when you can come back when it's peace and quiet."
Right,
Stuff like
right.
this is why I found the Marine Corps peaceful.
Yeah.
This was
Wow.
like yeah, this one was a more dramatic thing, but this is all drama all of the time. I hate it. That's why I don't like being around people a whole bunch no more. That's why it took me so long to do stuff like this. Because I know me saying some of this stuff's not gonna go over well. Okay, but my story's worth telling, I think.
I think so too, baby.
I agree, and this is from your perspective, right? This is
Yeah.
not.
It's not
this
saying
doesn't
100% of what it is.
It doesn't
It's
matter
your
what
take on
anybody
it.
else. It's how Seth saw his life in your journey, right?
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Keep going with the story. Sorry for interjecting.
No, you're good. But yeah, no, it's weird because that same, I was there for 2 weeks or a week or something like that. I think it was 12 days. They gave me 12 weeks of emergency leave or vacation or whatever you want to call it.
12 days, yeah.
To kind of get stuff handled. And part of it was I was lonely. Part of it was maybe it's something that could make my mom feel better. There was a lot of factors playing into it, but my longtime girlfriend, who had been, like, even after she gave me the John Deere, we still got back together. Very, very stupid choices, obviously, for both of us. But we were like, well, I'm already here, and it would make me more money, and we want to be together anyway. Let's just get married. So yeah, my superiors looked at me very strangely. Couldn't have been the weirdest thing they dealt with. It was the Marine Corps. There's a lot of craziness going
Hold
on.
on,
But
I'm trying to be there for a second. So they sent you home for a 12-day leave.
Because your
my
Because
mother-
your
mother,
mom's dying,
Yeah.
or in
and
your
he
thoughts
comes back
dead,
and I come back with a
married.
wife.
and he comes back with a wife.
And when I told my
God,
when I
goodness.
told my staff sergeant that he looked at me sideways because
Hey,
he
what?
was not I don't know what he was expecting, but it probably wasn't that.
Wow.
And he was just like,
Oh man.
go to the BAH office, I guess, which is I had to go fill out some paperwork and maybe maybe that wasn't the right office name. I don't remember what it was. Deers. I had to go to Deers so I could like make it official and put it on the paperwork and do all that stuff. But
Wow.
yeah, no, that was a dumb decision on my part.
You live and learn, man.
But it was like, okay, now my mom had. I hate to say this, and I'm happily married now. But with my first wife, it felt like we did it as like a spur of the moment thing for like weighing it pros and cons, not because we actually needed to be together. So it was more money, and unfortunately, feels like my mom has something to live for now because I'm her oldest. So now she's got a daughter-in-law who they got along fairly well as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it felt like there was more good than bad at the moment to come from that. So I go back, and then it kind of sunk in for a little bit where it was like, okay, this was just more drama. Like, yeah, something dramatic happened, and it's terrible, and I hate that it happened, but also nothing changed. My 20-year-old brain, I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is just another chapter in the same book of expletive, whatever you want to say that I can't say on here. Not that it's a problem, but I'm trying to. Sorry.
Had you ever, at this point, ever in your life between Christian schooling and after the Marines and after this situation, had you ever stopped and said a prayer? Had you ever talked to God in your mind ever?
Not a once.
Okay.
Not a once. I wasn't atheist. I wasn't like one of those. I wasn't one of those people that was like, oh, I don't. There's nothing that's out there. This was all an accident by a super explosion that happened from nothing. I wasn't. But at the time, there was just so much other stuff going on. I wasn't really thinking about what it could be. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't tempt fate. Like, I had buddies that felt completely comfortable to take a page out of a Bible and roll a blunt with it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But I would sit there and go, all right, I'd be like, well, you're asking for a lightning bolt, brother. Like, yeah, I'm not. That's not me. I'm not.
So you had natural
It's like you
reverence.
believe,
Built
There
in.
was. I knew there was something, and whatever it was,
We're gonna try to
he was
take it.
having a lot of fun. Is what it felt like to me at the time. I was like, he's having a lot of fun picking on me, so I'm not gonna say anything back. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I remember what talking back to my parents was like. Who knows what a space entity could do at
Sure.
the time? You know?
Okay.
Okay.
You had natural reverence for something that you felt at least existed, and you weren't going to go that far.
Sure. I didn't know that there was rules or laws to it or whatever, but I felt like there was definitely something because it made no sense for there to be nothing.
There's a line somewhere you didn't want to
Yeah,
cross.
yeah.
I got
I
you.
wasn't gonna, if that's the right one, and I wouldn't have done that with any religious book.
Sure.
Because I was like, oh, I don't know who's right. If they're right.
At that time, yeah.
Yeah, we're all going to die.
I
Yeah.
feel
At the
you.
time,
Yeah.
pretty confident about being right now. So.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But yeah, no, it was, it was just more distancing myself from the craziness, from my childhood, from all of that. Mm-hmm. And I I kind of it kind of broke me a little bit that even after I was gone for so long, that this stuff could still actively affect me to pull me away from my own life and pull me into the mess and bring me back to it. And I'm right back to where I was, feeling like a 17-year-old again in a house that it was odd. It was like it felt like all that freedom and pride and okay, I'm my own man. I felt like all that just kind of got taken and put in a bottle, and that was it. And so I fell into a pretty bad depression. I wasn't nearly as motivated anymore when it came to like the Marine Corps stuff. They had to drop me from my class that I was going through. They're like, "Hey man, you were gone for too long, so we're gonna take you and pull you out of this one and put you in the class like the next up." They'd already been going for 2 months. Everybody already knows everybody. There's already like a leadership hierarchy established, and it's not like I was in the mood to be a leader anyway. Hated the job, hated life, hated everything back home from before this. There was just a lot of angst, a lot of irritation and upsetness all of the time. I just kind of gave up. I did not learn my job at all. I thank Trevor, my boy, if you're out there, thank you. You're the only reason I passed any of the stuff. I will say that was the one good thing that came from me being dropped. I have a very close knit group of friends, and I met the first one that led to that in that class. He also just basically helped me cheat through the entire course because I had no like I was like, hey man, what it is, what's the answer, and like it's this. Thanks man. That's it. The whole time, tests included, didn't matter. It's not like school, so there's not like an instructor looking around and making sure because it was like it's your career. It's if you want to not know your job, that's your career, it's your fault, it's on you. So they don't care as much. But I didn't learn anything. I always used to tell people I'm here for heavy lifting and moral support, which was true. I did do a lot of both of those things. So that was my job. I went from San Diego boot camp to 29 Palms schoolhouse. And then when I actually got to the fleet, or like the main Marine Force, I went to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Yet another thing that I added to my list of I can't stand it. Nothing is going in the way of my life how I want it to go. Like I said earlier, I wanted to go to Japan. I didn't know this at the time, but since I was married, I couldn't do that at such a young Marine Corps level rank. I would have had to have been like a sergeant or something because they just didn't have housing for my spouse at the time, and they don't want to keep families separated. The military actually does a good job of wanting to keep families together. I'll give them that. They take good care of your spouse. They don't care for you at all. They care about your spouse.
Interesting.
But I was in Camp Lejeune, and it was I had a buddy that likes to call it a POG unit. It's been so long. I don't even remember what it stands. Person other than grunt, I think, is what it is. So you have two types of Marine Corps units. You had the grunts, that's the people doing real Marine Corps stuff, or like what they show in the commercials. And you had everybody else.
Okay, that's fair.
And I was the telephone.
Yeah,
The behind the scenes guys.
Yeah, we're Marines too, but nobody's excited about my job. It's like, it's okay. I'm not excited about that job either. But we.
That's funny.
The problem is with those type of units, it's very according to all the people I've talked to and the unit I was in, since they're not doing the real Marine Corps stuff, they're worried about little stuff. So I had my 9 to 5 job, sort of. It was more like 04 to whatever time they decided to release us, and whether that was, whether that was 0-1 the next day or whatever, it didn't matter. You worked until you were done or till whatever officer decided it was time to go home. But they would do little stupid stuff. Uniform inspections, all that, like weekly fancy uniforms. You'd put them on, and you had to pass the inspection. Such pointless things, in my opinion. You're like, oh, well, you need uniformity. I'm like, brother, this isn't even my work uniform. You're gonna do that with the work uniform, okay? Not with this every single week. And I was dealing with a lot of stressors at home too. I didn't know anything, like at all, about how to be an adult. I had no idea how to be an adult. I learned how to be an adult on my own, and it was learning through failure, which is both the best and worst kind of learning. It's usually ends up with the best results, but boy, does it suck.
Sure.
Like, I was stupid enough, like, oh yeah, we're gonna get married, and that was it. I still had a kid's brain basically, because
We're married now. Yay.
yeah, yay, that's it. That's all that goes into it. We're married. Let's go get a house and kids and a car and all that. No idea how to do any of that. I had to get my license. Okay, not much of a problem. Cool. I had to find housing. I should have lived on base, but I don't want to. I already deal with all their rules all the time anyway. I'm going to live off base so I can live, have a little bit more freedom. We're in North Carolina. That's a very expensive place to live, apparently. So I'm paying $1,100 a month in rent.
Jeez.
And now, this is so stupid. I'm not going to go over this whole thing, but North Carolina, for some reason, has terrible insurance rates. Don't know why.
That's strange.
I was paying $600 in car insurance a month.
That's expensive.
It is.
Wow.
A month. And I was paying
With no accidents.
nothing. Well, I had no record. I had
Right,
just
that's
got my
what I'm
license.
saying.
So they were like, well, you're a new driver, and you're a Marine, and you're in North Carolina. So it's like, can't do anything better? Can't go 500, What,
Can I
nothing?
hear 3? Yeah, that'd be good.
Something. I was real quick. But the problem is, if I didn't have insurance, your superiors would get you in trouble or whatever. You wouldn't be allowed to take your car home until you got insurance.
Sure.
You wouldn't be allowed to do anything until you had to pass all the inspections. So but that was on top of like $400 a month for the car, because I had no credit history. So they were like, yeah, the best we can do is 20%. And I went through like 6 people that were like, yeah, 20% is the best we can do. And I was finally like, please, I'll pay 15% if you just give me the car today. And they're like, really? Yeah, that sounds great. And they signed me up for 15.9%,
Oh.
something like that. So I'm paying $1,000 a month just to be on the road, and $1,100 to have the rent. So that's not electricity. That's not food. That's not,
Anything else?
nothing. So it's like paycheck to paycheck, like advanced level, like I'm having to go
You're
without
sweating.
power for a little while.
Wow.
Or, our food is ramen noodles and that's it,
But that's the
And she
trials and
wasn't-
errors you were talking about.
And she
That's-
wasn't working?
No. She had a job for a little bit as like a housemaid thing for like 2 weeks, and then she got fired because she was doing it on the beach houses in North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
So they're real fancy beach houses or whatever, but I guess the lady was real strict, and some guy went in after her to like wash his hands and didn't clean up the mess in the counter. And so when the main boss lady came in to inspect it, because the rich people complained about the mess in the sink, they were like, yeah, you gotta go. You're not doing a good enough job. This is what I was told. I don't know. It was a lot of stressors on a young mind that didn't really know what he was doing. I had to keep uniforms in tip-top shape. I got to pay all these bills. I got to do all this craziness. And one day I just kind of broke down. Like, I know I said that earlier, felt broken, but I had not cried. I was one of those kids who was like, oh, men don't cry.
Sure.
It was real. Tried to tough it out. Tried to be as strong as I could for as long as I could. I just remember one day being in there, and I think I was calling to try and figure out new insurance because I had it for 3 months or 6 months. I was like, okay, maybe they can lower the rate. And I called them, and the lowest they could give me, it went from like 604 to like 586. That was every place that I called. That was the lowest rate for some reason, and I was just like, I just sat there and I set my phone down. And I just remember bawling like a baby for 20 to 30 minutes, fetal position, curled up. It's not like I could call home for help. It was hard for them to help themselves at that time. There's a whole bunch more craziness that's going on that I'm not even going to get into. That was happening while I was away. Somehow it got worse after I left. Somehow. It was a lot. Oh. Yeah, dude, it feels like the hits just kind of kept on coming. It sucks when you lay out your life and you see how things kind of stack up. I had been there for a while. Depression had sunk in. I was in the Marine Corps 3 years and some change, something like that. And I got this real bad migraine. Like awful, just terrible. I could not fathom going to work. I couldn't fathom opening my eyes. It was very bad, and it lasted for like a week. It was awful. I was in tears, balled up. My wife had to drive me to work. I'd get into the office, and they sent me to the doctor. The doctor sees it, and he doesn't really know. He's like, I have no idea what's going on, so we're going to send you to a specialist. So some admittedly really cool guy with a really weird accent. From
That guy.
Oxford or like the college he went to was like some fancy college overseas or something.
Okay.
Like 6'5" British guy, I guess.
Wow. Hey, mate.
That's more Australian, but
That's okay.
Oh,
Good try.
you
Then I'm going to this eye specialist off base. It's just like old people, like with like cataracts and stuff.
Okay.
And then me going in. And it took like 2 months of me going in every week or every other week or something like that for him to finally be like, yeah, okay, so you've got some fancy named thing. I'm going to try. But it's a bilateral something panuveitis. I don't remember what the middle word is.
Interesting.
I don't know what it means. What I know is he said that there were spots in my vision, and I could tell that, but I thought that was from the migraine. So there's these little black dots that are in my vision, just kind of sporadically. I still have them. I don't notice them as much. I think my brain is kind of like
Sees
compensated
around
or
them.
something.
Yeah.
I still have tiny little holes in my vision that are just not there.
little blind spots.
Sort of, yeah. It's not blurry. They're just gone. And he went through this whole process of explaining it to me. Basically, your eyes and your body are two separate entities. So if you didn't know this, your eyes have their own immune system. Your body has its own your body has an immune system that doesn't recognize your eyes. So if there's any cross contamination, your body treats your eyes like a foreign entity, like a disease. So it tries to attack it to get rid of it.
Wow.
So I guess that happened. So that was cool to find out that I was going blind, I guess. At least that's what he told me at the time. He was like, yeah, man, you may be blind. You may not. We don't know, really. The whole name basically equated to it's in both eyes, and we don't know what caused it. Like, that's what I looked up what all three of the words meant at one point. And he told me, he gave me the paperwork. I went and told my military people what he had said. And they were like, okay, well, we're going to figure this out. And the paperwork started moving through the system. And they were like, yeah, we're going to have to remove you from the Marine Corps. We're going to have to medically separate you. So that's pretty cool, you know. Yeah, I hated everything that was going on, but at least I still had the Marine Corps thing.
Sounds like it was really, really rough at that point.
It was. But I got one more part of my life that I gotta talk about that I didn't earlier, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Kind of bleeds into what happens
Next.
next. Um, I, there's a lot of physical abuse. There was a lot of mental stuff that I was dealing with. There was a lot of nastiness and whatever that I dealt with. But I had been sexually assaulted when I was like 3. I guess it would have been 3 or 4 or something like that, because we were living at the Air Force Base by my neighbor's kids. It was 2 girls. I think they were like 8 and 10, something like that. I won't go into details, obviously, but there was stuff that happened there that had me thinking thoughts
That you wouldn't
from a
normally.
child, from that age, that I should not have been thinking, that I didn't understand, that I didn't know. So there was kind of this, not kind of, there was this obsession with sex, and that did not get better with age.
Were you? Did you ever tell your parents that
No,
happened?
not until I was 21, 22.
Okay. So there wasn't any sort of counseling or anything. You hadn't told them about it.
No, I didn't know what to think of it.
Sure.
That wasn't even talked about with me. Like, it wasn't
Let's
even
see.
like a
You might have even thought it was a normal thing just because you were so young, you
maybe.
know?
I didn't, but there wasn't even like a. This was. Nobody was like, "Hey, that's your no-no swear" type stuff. Like, I know a lot of parents teach their kids that type of stuff now, as they should. That's a good thing. I'm going to teach my daughter that. Trust me, that is awful. That parents weren't teaching that stuff back then, but nobody was. So I don't blame my parents for that, and I can't blame young me for not understanding that was a bad thing.
Sure.
But it kind of it messed up my brain. I'm embarrassed because I feel like I did something wrong here, but I didn't.
Sure.
I was a kid, still a kid. So I would seek that kind of stuff out. Started at a young age, probably 9, 10 years old. Pornography. The internet was coming around, and kids just kind of had freedom. And for those of you that don't know, the internet back in the day was the wild, wild west. There was no limiters or children's safe areas. It was just the internet as a whole. So everything was in your face all at once. So pornography, and when I was 13, I went to school for the first time, or to high school for the first time, and I got my first like serious girlfriend, and she was a victim of that kind of stuff too. So there's a lot of hypersexuality. So we, did what messed up teenagers do apparently now in today's age, and we was having sex all the time, and it was like quite literally for 2 years. Thank God I didn't have a child at that age, but like for 2 years it was like every day. Any chance I could get, it felt like I had an addiction as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
That's a really vulnerable age to be doing it at all, much
Sure.
less so often, you know.
No, I
What were
agree.
you, 13, 14?
13 till I was about 15 years old.
Yeah.
And that was just with her. And, after that it was, me and her broke up. High school relationships, whatever. No matter how serious it is, it's not. You're just kids.
Yeah.
We broke up, and it felt weird not being able to do that all the time. Felt weird, so I went to go seek it out in ways that were vastly inappropriate for people my age. I don't even know if I've told my parents this one, but I was seeking it out in every kind of way. I was trapped in lust 100% all the way. I got shown by one of my older buddies a website where you could kind of find prostitutes. So at like 15, 16 years old, I'm thinking about hiring a prostitute. And I actually did it when I was 16 for the first time. And that led to a consistent record of doing these sorts of things. Um, Obviously, I was messed up. At a certain point, you can't use that as an excuse.
Sure.
Uh,
But you're still a kid at this point.
I was,
Mm-hmm.
but it bled into my adult life as well. So that's a good chunk of the reason why my first marriage didn't work out. Like, we were both not doing so hot. It wasn't good. We were stupid kids. But that played a part into it. I was unfaithful. I was a terrible husband. I shouldn't have been. That's on me. I don't put that on her. I didn't understand. I knew right and wrong, but I didn't understand, I guess, even at that age, like, why it felt like I couldn't stop, or what was going on, or why I was having such trouble, or why this felt like a need,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
And
so-
usually with those things, Seth, they you know this now, but they get easier and easier as
Each time you do it.
It's like, whoa, okay, that happened, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Next time easier. Next
Yeah.
time's easier. And as you get older, obviously you have more access, less people watching you or whatever. So
I was gonna say that's also one of like, and I'm not a psychologist, but I've had my own experiences and know a lot of other people that have had experiences with traumas, particularly sexual traumas in their childhood. It happens, a lot more than you think it does. So
For
for
sure.
people that have children, you need to be aware of that.
Watch
Um,
your kids, man.
yeah,
your
Don't let them
hands.
on the internet.
Don't let them
Don't
hang
let
out with
strangers
people.
be in. No sleepovers. None of that.
Not even family sometimes.
Like, it's
I mean,
so
normally it's
easy.
the people that are closest to you. This was like not just your neighbors, but your mom was friends with these people, so it was her friends' kids, and so she's like, "Yeah, go play at their house
Yeah.
in their yard."
Sure.
You know,
Somebody you feel like you could trust.
you got to be, yeah, you got to be careful. And like I said, we all have those issues, but normally swings one of three ways. It's either so traumatic that they are scared at every turn, or it exemplifies itself in hypersexuality, which is apparently what happened to him and
definitely
what
what
happened to me. And there's then the other way, and I'm probably going to get offed on the internet for this, but homosexuality is the other way that it turns out normally for those
Yeah.
sorts of incidences. So from what I have personally heard and gathered,
Sure.
personal
Talking
information.
to
Again,
people.
I'm not a psychologist. I'm just saying, talking to people. I used to be a very big people person, and people feel comfortable talking to me normally, and so that wasn't an abnormal reaction to what you went through, but
Oh,
it was
no.
abnormal
No.
to what it should have been.
And there was no
affected you.
stopping it, right? Or
Yeah,
there was no
at that time. Yeah.
there was no net. There was no support system. It felt like
Yeah.
there was no one that I felt like I could turn to and talk about it, because it was such a.
Did your parents know any of this was going down? Did your brothers know? Did
At
your
that time.
friends?
I believe that when I left for boot camp, there was some. I had left my phone, and there was stuff about some of it,
Gotcha.
and my girlfriend at the time, eventually becoming my first wife, like I said, bad decisions. This was already sort of knowledge. Doesn't mean it was okay. But she found some of it and told just about everybody because she was mad about it. I believe my parents asked me about it on my graduation day at boot camp, which was like, can we take some time to celebrate or something? And I did something cool, and the first thing we do is talk about,
Something bad.
did you do this or did you do that? And some of the stuff got wildly misconstrued. Doesn't matter. What does matter is that lifestyle continued, and I ended up getting divorced the same month that I got discharged from the Marine Corps, or
Wow.
like we separated. The divorce happened a little while later. I was being belligerent about signing papers and such, but I was done. I kind of gave up on just about everything. The VA rated me pretty high for things that had happened while I was in. Obviously I wasn't in combat, but I was doing a lot of stuff for my unit, and some of that showed up as injuries. And then there was mental health stuff that they were like, okay, they did have to assess me. And so I got rated fairly high. So they were like, hey, man, you're going to get these checks forever. Sorry that you may or may not go blind. Sorry you can't be a Marine anymore, whatever. And then also getting divorced. So, over the course of 3 years and some change, I went from feeling like, okay, I have freedom. I have newfound, pride in myself. I'm accomplishing things. To, okay, wife's gone. Don't really have a connection with my family. Career's gone. Might even go blind.
Bro, that's a
that's
list.
heavy, especially for a young man. Like you're not you're not about to retire from the Marines. It's not like you've been married for 20 years and you not excusing, but it's not like you had a midlife crisis or something and went out and did something stupid.
He is getting
you know.
beat by the world, and because I know Seth in 2026, all of this is the path, brother.
Mm-hmm.
It truly is. I mean, it's really sad to hear it in these details. I've heard some of this stuff, obviously, but Yahuah always has a path of least destruction, and I feel like even though all of this is so horrible, brother, there's always light at the end of the tunnel in it.
And you're living proof of
It
that.
feels like I'm there now, but I wasn't quite in the deepest pit yet. So I got out the Corps. I got out. Got divorced. Got out the Corps, and just kind of shut myself away. I stayed with my parents for probably about a couple of months or something after I got out, because I didn't really have plans to get out. It's not like I was prepared for it. I should have been. I was probably just dragging feet because I didn't care anymore. Stayed there for a little bit. I tried to ignore it, but drama still goes on. Life still goes on. So I just kind of tried to find an out. And I came down here, and me and you hadn't talked for hell. It would have been 4 or 5 years at that point, something like that.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it was longer than that. I think it was. How old were you? 21.
Yeah, 21,
So
22, something
7,
like that.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 4 or 5 years, yeah.
Yeah. When I was in high school, like I said, I shut down paying attention to a lot of the drama that was going on between you and my mom.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hear that story? Check out the video.
Yeah.
Another plug. But it was, I was a victim of. No, not gonna say I'm a victim. I got one side of the story and believed everything I heard from that side of the story because I had no reason not to.
Oh, I got you.
So I just heard everything my mom was saying about you. And I was like, oh, well, that's got to be true. Why would my mom lie to me? Because I still didn't want to believe that there was stuff going on that, I don't know. I was a stupid kid, but I was a
You were
kid.
17. Yeah, you're a kid.
And my mom, for some reason, I was like, oh, well, I was a very aggressive child. So I was like, well, let me say something. I'll set her straight. Even before I was in the Marine Corps, I was about the knife hand action, telling people what's what. And
Yep.
and I was like, well, my mom said that something else was going on. I was like, well, let me say something. I'll handle it. Trying to be big and tough. And she was like, yeah, sure, here you go. And gave me your number or something. And I said some awful things.
You didn't know, baby.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Look at where we are now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's okay.
Yeah. But
he had said just the pivotal part of it was that he didn't want to hear from me, and he was almost an adult. He's like, I don't want to talk to you ever again. It was the end of the phone call.
Yep.
And I told him, I said, that's fine. I love you. Maybe someday you'll understand. And
Right.
someday we'll talk again and it'll be fine.
And you were right.
It is fine.
You were right. We
It
did
is fine.
we did end up talking again about 5 years later.
Yeah. Thanks to your brother.
I
right?
went.
Sort of.
My brother? Maybe.
Yeah, because he said that. I think he said that. You should talk to Jen. She's okay,
Well,
or something like that.
I picked up a very bad drinking habit. So I wasn't really.
He followed in my footsteps.
So I
apparently, on that one.
wasn't. I wasn't always lucid. But I know that my brother invited me down to come hang out with him. I was getting cabin fever up there in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas, with my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they had moved.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
up in. Well, I won't go into names.
They were in a
but
different city.
they're in a different city. Is like 500 people or something
Right.
stupid like that. I don't. But my brother was, he's 18, 19 years old, I guess, at this point. He's like, come on down, man. We'll have a good time. That'll make you feel better. Because he's also a dumb kid. He doesn't know. And so I get down there, and it was kind of nice.
Fun.
Well, it was kind of nice because it felt like a hometown hero almost, I hadn't seen like I said, my parents and I didn't get along the best, but my brothers and I were real close.
Yeah.
So when I came back and Cole was there and he had a bunch of his friends from Jacksonville, and I guess some of these kids knew me, some of them didn't, I don't know. I went to a school where I was not the majority, I was the minority. Mm-hmm. And I had long hair and a beard in high school, so I just got called Jesus all the time. And there are people, even to this day,
Can we
that
put a
Cole will
picture
be
of
like,
that up here?
hey, do you... No, please don't
Okay,
put a
I
picture
won't.
of me in high school.
Thanks.
There's still people to this day where Cole will be like, hey, you remember so-and-so? They asked how you were doing. And I'll be like, I don't know who that is. And they were like... and they're just like, apparently knew me as Jesus. I guess I was I stood out. That's what I'm going to say. Not well known, stood out. So I come back, Cole's got a bunch of his friends, and they're all like, oh my God, it's good to see you. And we are getting plastered. Just forget everything else. Like the world's going to end tomorrow. Doesn't matter. And I was making trips probably... I would come down, I'd stay for 2 weeks and just get absolutely hammered with them, and then I'd go back. But on one of those trips, I guess somebody mentioned to be honest with you, I don't remember. Somebody mentioned something about you wanting to talk or something. We hadn't seen each other in so long. And I was like, okay, yeah, I guess. What harm could it do? Everything else sucks anyway,
I will tell you, I was so nervous.
Why?
Well, because the last time I'd spoken to you, you were very angry, and so
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, I was excited.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's talking to me, but also, oh, I haven't seen him in so long. What do I say? One of those things. Anyway, go ahead.
No, yeah. I mean, I was. I actually don't remember if I was nervous. I think I was just kind of like, I didn't care about anything at that point.
Sure.
Didn't really feel much of anything. I think my heart was pretty well closed off to just about everything. But I show up, and I think our first interaction was kind of nice. It was pleasant as far as I remember.
Yeah.
I remember I was wearing some super ugly jumpsuit that I was wearing to like the clubs, or I had like the jumpsuit top and some tight jeans or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, I
Hey.
had like come from a party the night before and just didn't change. It's like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
But
No, it was
it
pleasant.
was nice, and I think I talked with you guys a little bit. I think that's about where it started, where I'd come over and talk with you guys a little bit here and there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Most of this part of my life, don't remember hardly at all.
Understandable.
But it was... I'd come to y'all's house every once in a while, and y'all slowly introduced me to like... You slowly introduced one big topic at a time. I'm not going to sit here and say you slowly introduced me to the whole thing. You slowly introduced me to one massive topic at a time.
Yeah.
And so it would be like, I'd walk into their house and there would be this like map of
flat Earth on the board, and next to it's like a rocket ship and NASA written in Hebrew, and I'm like, what is all this? And
In fairness, this was my dining room and it was our homeschool board also.
I'm like, what
Wow.
what kind of craziness are you guys planning, you know? And it's like and so we would have conversations where they would try to convince me of something that sounded absolutely outrageous at the time, but mostly because of indoctrination.
You probably thought we were insane.
I did.
Yeah.
I did think you guys were insane. And I thought you were very frustrating as a human being. I love you to death now, but at the time I was like, this guy gets my goat. Like I was so, because it wasn't just.
Brad knows
you
how to
don't-
do that,
he
though,
doesn't-
you
Like
know?
you said, we talked
It's
about
on
it a little bit
purpose.
earlier. You
Yeah.
don't answer questions directly.
No,
So we
never.
would sit there and I'd be
Never.
like, I would say something. I'm like, do you think that Donald Trump is a bad person? And you would say something like, well, Seth, you know, all sorts of people are bad people. I'm like, that's not an answer. That's not. Sorry if that was loud.
It's the salesman in Brad, you know?
Dude, it was so frustrating. It was like every time we talked. And I would sit there and
all
I'd be,
bad people,
It
you
still
know?
is, though. The thing is, he's still like that. I think we've
I know.
just gotten numb to it a little bit over time. We're just like, we ignore it. We're like, okay, whatever.
but you know, I would talk to you both about all this stuff, and you guys showed me a lot of things, and a few of the things stuck with me, but it was more like the math behind the space exploration, right? And how it kind of all the numbers equaled the devil's number, and giants or the Book of Enoch or things that I was just like, that's not in the Bible, you know. There's no such thing as giants. What are you guys talking about? Just little things that felt very polarizing from what I would consider normal church stuff.
Sure.
Stuck with me, sort of. But I would talk with you guys on sometimes, and then other times I'd be out partying and drinking because it wasn't like a priority. It was just interesting, not a learning thing so much as like it's cool. It's nice to be talking to people and not have liquor pouring down my throat. So it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we had some good first conversations. That
Yeah.
Yeah.
we had some good dinners and stuff. When you
Yeah,
first
I like
dude,
how
came
Seth's
around.
voice was like really high pitched when he said, yeah. He's like, yeah. Because he just got through explaining that you agitated him. Because you're like, I think we had good first conversations. Seth literally just got through being like, you annoyed the crap out of me.
After it was more steady is what I'm talking about. Maybe not at the very beginning.
Sure. Eventually, it got pretty. It was pretty nice. It felt interesting because it was I didn't really, after Melvin died, everything kind of fell apart. And while my immediate family was where a lot of my problems stemmed from, there wasn't any reach out from extended family. You weren't allowed there. Crystal, or Nana to a lot of people, she would show up, and I think she was doing her best. But there's only so much one person can do.
Yep.
And I appreciate her for that. But it didn't change what I was going through or how I was feeling.
How could
Sure.
it?
Not on her. Just
Yeah.
I can tell she was trying her best. So it felt weird having like family again.
Sure.
I guess because I wasn't really close with my immediate family still, other than my brothers. And one of them was a baby. One of them was off at college, and one of them was the only time we spent together was getting high or drunk. So that's not, it was weird to sit down at a family dinner table, and for there to be little ones that I had to watch what I was saying around, and to
Yeah, I
be
remember
like,
this.
had to kind of temper myself to fit into. It felt like.
Yeah, so you were only like 2, I think.
I think you did. I actually complimented you years later, but I think you did a really good job with the lifestyle you were living.
Yeah, to
I
come
did
here
also
in
and
my household and
respect
you're
it.
very respectful, and that as a big. I know there's been times of slip ups, we all have. But
Sure.
As a whole, I always thought
you were very
it
respectful.
was like, man,
Well,
he was able to let that stuff go. At
It's
least
because
for
they
a
were
moment.
babies, man. They don't need to. I've always been a big proponent for the innocence of little guys to stay that way. So I didn't want to expose them to the stuff that I was
thinking or feeling or doing or saying or none of that because they didn't need that. They didn't. They still don't. No babies, no kids, nothing.
Agreed.
Hell, even grown folk that have managed to make it this far that ain't dealt with that kind of stuff. It shouldn't be my place to expose them to that. Um, Now, on the flip side, and this is where I would say I was being a bad person, is if someone was already living partially that lifestyle, I was like a tour guide through the garbage. I was like, yeah, man, let's go do this instead. And I feel bad about that. And there's some guys that I have reached out to and apologized because it was like, at the time I didn't care. Like I said, it was just a lot. So I'm still living my debaucherous lifestyle. Alcohol, women, drugs, whatever. Um, and other guys are like, man, that was a fun party. I really enjoyed, drinking tequila or what, I don't know how you took so many shots. I'm like, well, the, experience or practice or whatever. But like next time we're going to do it at the strip club or something like that. I'd take them to go do that. And like, I was a piece of crap. But I never felt bad about it because I say that. I felt bad after the fact, but I always thought it was just the physical effects, right? Because in the moment I'm not thinking about it. And, there's pretty women and lots to drink and, everybody's getting high and nobody has no problems. It's like, it's cool, it was all right. Then I'd feel terrible the next day. And obviously part of that really was the physical effects.
Sure.
But I didn't realize at the time what I do now that was also, in here, that I could tell it wasn't right, but I didn't know what else to do. I knew that I didn't want to do, I was afraid of doing anything meaningful. That's what it was. I had to find the words. And, damn, man, I'm sorry I'm crying so much, y'all. I apologize for being a baby.
No, you're doing great.
But,
It's good to see you open up.
yeah, I was a piece of crap. And I moved down to Little Rock a little while after. I don't know the time frame. But I'd been driving back and forth. And I just kind of was like, what's the point of driving back and forth? Let me just move down here. I think I stayed with you guys for
a little while. Yeah.
it was like a month or something, maybe longer. I don't know.
For the first time, it was like a month, and we helped you get an apartment out there.
Sure, I wasn't the best house guest, but I appreciate y'all taking me on.
You were fine.
No, yeah,
You were respectful.
But we got my apartment in Little Rock, and
this is the first time. I'm with
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
and man, it was sort of nice to have a little bit of freedom building back up, but I just spent it doing all the wrong stuff. I don't think I ever felt more lonely.
You should have just stayed with us. That was my mistake. I think Brad had.
Y'all were trying to get me out into the world and to do stuff again, which it makes sense.
But being alone probably wasn't what you needed at the time, and I'm sorry I didn't see that.
No, it's all right. It was pretty lonely. So I would do the same thing I would always do and reach out, in the wrong ways to different individuals to try and find companionship, to feel something, to whatever, whether that's women or alcohol or drugs or whatever. But it was just me. I don't think I turned a light on in that apartment in months. It was bad. Trash bags and dishes piled up. And all my meals were coming from down the street at the Burger King or something. And I was not, I'd spend all night drinking and all day kind of sleeping. That was pretty bad. I thought about killing myself.
don't think I knew that.
There was a period where I thought, that was probably had to be better than what I was feeling. Um, it was scary, but I didn't really see another way. Like I didn't want to do it, you know, but I didn't see anything else for me. I didn't really see a connection that I wanted to reach out. I didn't see anything meaningful that I wanted to do. I didn't see anything that mattered enough to stick around. I thought, okay, well, I had my shot and I effed everything up. Um, so why try again? Um, one of the guys, I talked about my close friend group. Um, one of the guys that I met through Trevor, his name's Victor.
Victor. We're fans of Victor.
That guy is the best. He, these guys would listen to me playing video. We would play games together. We were playing video games. And every time we'd play video games, I'd be getting plastered in the middle of it. And I don't know what I'm drinking. No, it don't matter. I'm a sad drunk. I get sad or I get silly. But it was more sad than anything most of the time. So they would hear me boo-hooing, hear me talking about all this craziness, how I was feeling. I don't know what all I've said to him, but I know that he he was like, "Hey, well, man, I'm looking for a roommate. I could use one of my roommates. Kind of left me high and dry, and left with a bunch of bills that are unpaid that he has to deal with now, and so it was just him and another girl, and they were like, well, I could really use someone to fill in the spot. You sound like you need someone, I'll even help you move." I was like, yeah, okay. It's got to be better than this. Um, I think it took me a day to decide. It was like, okay, do I shoot myself or do I try living in another state somewhere else? Maybe it's a little bit better. Maybe I can find some kind of happiness. So I went with, option B because A does not sound fun. It sounds scary. Um,
I love you, baby.
so thank God that he was around. Because I don't know how much more I would have been able to take. Because everything up to that point kind of sucked. But he was freaking great. Still is. Still is freaking great. Yeah. Brother just bought me a car seat for my
it's a lot harder to open these things than I thought it was going to be, you know?
Yeah. I'm proud of you for doing it, though.
He bought me a car seat because I'm having a daughter soon. Praise Yah.
Praise, yeah.
Obviously, there's a happy ending to the story because I'm still here. There's a lot of good stuff happening for me right now. But at the time, there was not. And he was like, yeah, man, let me help you out. And you help me out, I help you out. So I didn't feel like I was taking charity, which was a plus for me because I don't like taking help with nothing in return. And it got me out of the little pit I was in. So we moved in together, and I moved out to Tennessee and then Kentucky shortly after that. But we lived together for a while, and he was absolutely the best. I was probably an awful roommate. He doesn't say I was, but I like to think that you have to have one good and one bad, right? So I was the bad one. But he was a cool dude. It's my best buddy.
And he has a daughter, too, now, right?
He does. He has a stepdaughter and then a daughter that he just had
Yeah.
not too long ago.
So you guys are going to be girl dads together, too.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
That'll be fun. Road
Yeah, man,
trips in the near future.
He came down and helped me move all my crap and packed up. We went there and it was great. For the first time in my life, I had I probably acted like a dang chihuahua or something, like a dog. You know, you get excited, somebody else come home
Shaking.
from where I'm like, hey man, how you doing? You know, I'm probably a little into it a little bit. You know, I hadn't had anybody to talk to consistently for a while, and I was real lonely, and so I was at the house, and I would just be yapping his ear off. I'm sure. I don't think we had but one argument the whole time we lived together, probably 3 years. But I was out there for a while, man. He helped me get a lot more comfortable in a lot of ways with certain things. He was a good friend, and I had a lot of other guys that were friends there that I needed, that I didn't. It was weird. There was this safety and like an actual net of support, one that I felt comfortable in. And the only problem was that I was continuing with my lifestyle because while he's my brother and he's a great friend, he also didn't chastise me for the things that I was doing because why would he? It's normal. It's how the world works. You're a man. Do what you want with your money. You know, you want to get, we're getting high together. We're drinking together. We're having fun. We're going to parties. You know, so I got comfortable, and I found a little bit of happiness in friendship. But there was still just this hole that didn't make no sense to me. I didn't know how to fill it or fix it or do nothing. You know, at this point, I'm pouring and drinking and smoking and you know, there's women, there's all kinds of craziness. And in the middle of that, after years of being a part of it and not thinking twice about it, like, yeah, this sucks, but it's better than killing myself, or it's better than, you know, not having this. I see just a random, you know, for those of you that know how like feeds work, algorithms and such, algorithms, they see what you like and they send you
More.
whatever.
Things you should like.
Right. Hey, man, you like this. I ain't never thought about no Bible stuff, nothing. Not a word. You know what? I knew Jonah and the whale. I knew Daniel didn't get eaten by lions. I knew the flood. And I know that Jesus rose on Christmas or something, you know, whatever they say. You know, I didn't, that wasn't I didn't know anything really, but there was just a verse, a black screen that popped up on one of my little feeds. It was a verse that I never read before. Um, I'd heard a little bit from you guys, but I wasn't remembering or retaining all that well. And it was a verse out of Proverbs. I think it was Proverbs 13:20, and I'm probably, I may not even have the numbers right, but I may be misquoting, but it was something like, "He who walks with wise will be wise, but a companion of fools will be destroyed." And something just struck a chord looking at that. Why is this here? I don't like this kind of stuff. Hell, I even think I skipped past it and then was like, wait a second, what was this? Scroll back. What does this have to do with me? Why is it showing me this? Where is the half-naked women or the people fighting or the guns or whatever I'm looking at the time? Why is this here? What does it mean? Well, I don't think that any of the people I was around were fools. Let me rephrase. I don't think Victor was a fool. I love Victor to death. But I couldn't say any of us 20 to 25-year-old guys were necessarily wise. I sat there and thought, what does a wise man do? Does a wise man get high until he's drooling? Does a wise man drink until his liver hurts? Does a wise man spend all his extra money at the strip club?
Good questions.
Fair questions.
Well, I don't want to be destroyed. I don't even know what that means. People come to me for advice for some reason. People come to me for advice in my friend group. They call me granddad. Every time somebody had an issue, they talk to me and ask me questions and be like, "Hey, man, is it because it's like I lived a whole lot of life in the short amount of time I was alive?"
Mm-hmm.
So they'd ask me questions. I'd try to give them a reasonable, logical answer. So they started calling me granddad because I was like an old man they could talk to.
Trials by fire,
Yeah, legit.
And, I said, "Well, I'm wise. People come to me all the time. People ask me for advice. What am I wise in?" All these thoughts started going through my brain, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm not wise, then where would the wise people be at? Looked around, ain't really none right here. Again, great people, not necessarily wise men. Like, well, it's from the Bible. Who knows anything about the Bible? I thought back to when y'all was talking to me, like bi-weekly or whatever it was, back before I had moved some years ago. Okay. Well, they kind of know. I remember them saying a lot of stuff that sounded crazy at the time. I had time to gestate some of it and think about it. So maybe those are the wise folk. Got to be wiser than me. So I think maturing and age had something to do with it. But
For sure.
Absolutely.
there was a moment where I was like, okay, well, what harm could it do, right? It's not like I got anything else going for me. Let me give them a call. I don't remember if I called y'all or texted y'all or whatever. I know I started coming to like the Bible studies or something online.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep.
I still hadn't quit doing all this stuff.
Right.
Paul didn't tell him to change everything in a day.
Right.
It's a good
Yep.
I
point.
wasn't changing everything in a day either.
It's impossible. You'll fall on your face if you do it that way.
But I was like, okay, I want to be known as wise. What does that mean? Maybe they know. So I called y'all and tried to start coming to the Bible study, and it was a learning experience, quite literally, and I'm still going through that. I'm learning all the time. But it started there. I started to put some of the things away because we read that it wasn't okay. I I started to change habits because we read that it wasn't okay. I started to understand, to me, what feels like is the important things. It was it wasn't chaotic, and it was controlled. And that made sense because that's what I'd been looking for, I think, forever. Is not chaos, control, and defined parameters.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hadn't had that. So it was nice to start to see that in a way that, hey, this isn't just something that I can do in my own house. This isn't just something that, oh, this church, this little building is doing. You start reading it, and it's the whole universe. Everything falls within these defined parameters. Falls within this law, within this book, with all the rules. There is no exceptions. There is no contradictions. And it made way too much sense. And I have stumbled, and I have probably went back to the vomit like a dog a couple of times, and I have not been perfect. But damn it, I'm trying, and that's more than I've been doing for a long time. And I've been a part of this now for, hell, I guess this will be my 4th Tabernacles, I think, coming up.
Yep.
Yep.
This will be my 3rd Passover, because I think I joined in between those two.
Yes. Yep.
And I have a wife who I love very much, Samantha, and we met while I was on this journey because I moved away from Tennessee to get closer to this because I realized this might be what I was looking for. Mm-hmm. And I met my wife, and we're, girlfriend at the time, whatever. Now we're married. We're having a daughter, and
Praise Yah.
Praise God,
I'm
man.
trying. I want to get better.
And you're healing slowly but surely. And I can say the Seth that came at 20 or 21 is not the same Seth we have today.
Agreed.
180 degree. You're still Seth. Still your personality. But, and that's a testament to the work that you're allowing him to do.
I'm trying to let him do as much as he can, but it still feels like a fight every day.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
To let go of every single thing, to overcome every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I've stopped eating the blood. Cool.
Right.
But it's trying to get to be as right as possible.
Yeah.
Is the goal now. Having a goal, it feels good.
Yeah.
It's scary when you mess up. It's scary when you're not headed towards that goal. But I can feel the circumcision of the heart that's talked about.
Sure.
Yeah.
I didn't feel nothing years ago,
Yeah.
but today I feel scared to lead my daughter in the wrong direction. I
Yeah.
feel scared to not be doing the right thing. I'm sorrowful when I do the wrong thing. I am prideful that I have such a I am proud of my wife because Yah has given me a wife who is willing to be what a wife is supposed to be according to the word. Prideful is not a good word, but I'm happy about
You're
it.
blessed and
They're
happy.
happy. That's the word.
Mm-hmm.
I feel things. I didn't feel things for a long time, and it's a blessing. And all because I saw a verse, and I was like, what does this have to do with me? It feels like such a minute thing, but it's led to what I feel is probably the only portion of my life I've been really happy.
That's awesome.
It's beautiful.
What when you were, I know you said that you moved down here because you felt like this might be what you were looking for. When was the moment? Did you have a moment that just kind of clicked in your brain, like, I'm going to do this? Because I know at one point you said something and then we went and you were baptized, but do you remember what that little click moment was?
I was hesitant, at first. I felt like it was the right thing, but I had to be sure because in case no one has been listening, things don't always go right for me. When I try to do something meaningful, it doesn't always work out. So I wanted to try and do it the right way. I wasn't just going to commit to something.
I remember talking to you about this. You were like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm not trying to say I'm going to do anything until I know that I can.
I'm
you know,
not
and I
getting
thought that
smited.
But I wanted to try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to. What would be the point of jumping in with one foot?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what would be the point of jumping in when you can't see what's in the water?
Yeah.
Also a great point.
Yep. Might hit
so-
your head on the rocks.
Yeah.
So it took some time. I don't recall what we were learning specifically. I know I brought it up to you. I think I was like, "Hey, man, all good books. You don't start in the middle. You don't start at the end. You start at the beginning."
I
right?
remember this conversation.
And we're still, as a group, currently reading
Through it.
from the beginning as a group together through everything.
Yeah.
That's still happening. It's been some years, and we're still doing
That's
that.
crazy. It's
It
just
is.
like,
Because we're moving slow.
wow.
But
So we understand everything.
gotta dig deep. But I know I was like, look, man, I don't know nothing. Y'all wanted to talk to me about Revelation and Hebrews. And
We're a little zealous,
anything.
man.
Matthew and
we were in a different
We're a little
boat then.
overly
and I'm just sitting here
zealous.
talking to y'all like, man, I don't even know what the first page says. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Can we open the book to page 1 and let's
It's
start
Seth,
there?
That was Seth's idea.
It
To go
was,
back
and
and start.
not just that idea, but I just wanted to say that other thing you were talking about before that you brought up is actually one of the main focuses that I had because you had said that, and you don't realize sometimes the people that doesn't know the Bible hadn't really thought about this stuff.
Right.
Came flying through. The things you've said in the past 4 years have been very helpful to my walk, and it's seeing and hearing these sections of your life that uplifts my situation, especially when you're like, hey man, why are you going to commit to something if you're not serious about it?
Right.
And that's kind of how you made me feel. And when you said that, because I was just like, never thought about that. Our lives have been different, but that has stuck with me when you said that for all these years. And I've even said it to other people because I think it's wise.
It is wise.
I think it's wisdom, and I think that it's helpful to get people to think, hey, maybe this is something that
Yeah.
that we all should be thinking about doing. Maybe we should all take a step back and actually
Absorb.
feel something in your heart before you just say, hey, I'll jump off the cliff with you,
Right.
And it's just, it's wise.
Take
It's
a
really-
minute to absorb it and see if it's
Yeah.
good. And
Study it for a
Weigh it
moment
out.
before you take a bite
well, it
of the
says,
chocolate. You know,
that's actually, he was following the Spirit and didn't even know it because it says to test everything, and he was testing it,
his
seeing if it
spirit
was true.
literally made me feel a certain way, and I have thought about that conversation so many times I don't even know. I can't count, but it's come across my mind because it's very smart. It's very,
Yeah.
I think, biblical. I think that it would be stupid for someone to just, hey man, follow me.
And
Come on.
for Seth, the thing that I've noticed, I think, most since he did commit and come in and be like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. It's what I'm doing.
I'm staying in the race.
Is that he has been blessed with a spirit of understanding. He can just
Yes.
read it and he understands what it says, which a lot of people don't have that. And I'm really grateful that you have Samantha as well, because she's been a great addition to the family. We love her to death, and
Oh yeah.
and y'all's input this morning was Shabbat, and so we're doing this after Shabbat. But the fact that they can talk about these things and they can go in. Brad and I had discussed the lesson that Brad was giving this morning, and or the discussion we were hosting, and we didn't take it as deep as they did,
I know.
and they had some really good insight as
That
a
needs to be
couple
shared,
that needed to be shared, and so it's just from our perspective, like you said, proud isn't really
Shouldn't be
prideful is not the
Right.
word, but just seeing how far you've come in the last few years in your walk and in your life, and personal, spiritual, emotional, financial. I think you're
It's
doing,
both of them, yeah.
and yeah,
Both
and
have.
well, since we're on him, but yes, also with Samantha.
Man.
Hopefully we'll get her testimony soon. Not pointing any fingers. Um, I just, it's awesome to see how far you've come, and I cannot wait for the next 5, 10, 15 years to just see, if we get that far, like just to see how you become, because you're already so changed, markedly changed.
You inspire me, brother.
Thank you. Man, I've been blessed, and I don't deserve it because, like I said, I'm not perfect. But the blessings are innumerable. Even all the craziness, for anyone that sees this, if you also see my family, I've forgiven them. Because if I can't forgive them, then the Father has no right, not no right. He's not going to forgive me. I don't remember the exact verbiage. Mm-hmm. I've forgiven everybody and everything, and I've tried my best to change all the wrong things that I'm doing, and I've said sorry for a lot of it, and I'm good with them now. Those same family members that I was talking about through that whole terrible childhood, I have a budding relationship with them all.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing. And having a daughter is a blessing, and having a wife is a blessing, and having freedom and stability without debauchery is a blessing. Having a goal is a blessing. Having eyes to see and ears to hear is a blessing.
Amen.
I've been given all of it. And I am thankful. Thankful.
So are we. We love you so much.
I love y'all too.
We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
And sharing.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
That was strong.
Very strong.
Hopefully y'all skip past all the parts of me crying. Don't look at me. But
well,
I
we can't do
appreciate y'all
that.
having me here.
Yeah. Man, we appreciate you taking time, as you usually do, to weigh out and pray and decide, but we're glad that you chose to go ahead and do it. I think it's the right thing, and I think it's going to be really powerful for other people, and that's the point.
Man.
And, and
if it even helps one person, that's enough for me.
yeah.
Well, you've accomplished that.
Absolutely.
I assure you.
Well, guys, that is Seth's testimony. We thank him for being here, and we'll see you for the next one.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Prepare the way. All these people make straight a path. For Yeshua's coming back, so we lift up as the mighty boast. Hosanna, hallelujah, Hosanna, hallelujah. Prepare the way. All these people make straight a path. For Yeshua's coming back, so we lift up as a mighty boast. Hosanna, hallelujah, Hosanna, hallelujah. For he's coming in the clouds with his glory renowned. Make a path for him. He'll be shining like the sun with the sword on his tongue. He's calling us in. So He'll be shining like the sun with the sword out his tongue. He is calling us in. Oh, he's coming in clouds with his glory renowned. Make a path for him. He'll be shining like the sun with the sword out his tongue. He is calling us in, so be ready. For Yeshua is coming.